Hello, hello. Happy Monday, November 24th, 2025. We are nearing the end of Movember. My mustache is getting to the point where it is severely annoying the spousal unit. That's better. But we're also nearing the shaving day, so we'll see how it goes this last week. Um, Hello, good afternoon, Hans. Boy, the YouTube is blowing up here. Juicy, Colin, Gabriel, DRZ, Barbecue. Hello. Yeah, one more week. Gary. Who else we got in there? Where's Russell? Russell's not in there yet. Yeah, a week from today is December 1st. Basically, if I want to continue to be sleeping upstairs, I will shave it off next Monday. But anyway, as a reminder for gentlemen in the chat and those who have gentlemen partners, this is your reminder to take care of yourself. Get that doctor's appointment, schedule that visit, the one that you've been putting off, either because you're too manly or you're in some cases terrified of what might be, and you might be surprised. I had a couple of appointments this year that I really didn't want to do, but I decided, you got to do them, and they didn't turn out to be anywhere near as catastrophic as my mind had built them up to be. So, gentlemen, ladies, get your gentlemen to get the physical, and do what you need to do. That's that's the whole purpose of this. Yeah, midnight on Sunday. Yeah. There might be a party. You have surgery scheduled on December 3rd. I trust it will go well. So, this week, let's talk about this week. So, short week, obviously Thursday. No stream. Stream will be replaced by turkey. Otherwise, the week will proceed as normal. Friday will be podcast as normal, same time, same station. I do want to make one announcement. So those of you who are watching now are hearing this, are the very first people to hear this. Lisa and I are going to be holding a holiday pop-up shop. And it is going to be, oh my goodness, I have to get the dates now, just to make sure I get this correct. I know what the dates are. I just don't remember what the dates are. Let's look it up here. They are, all right, here we go. Yes. We are going to have a holiday pop-up shop. Essentially, we are going to be opening our warehouse up to customers. No appointment necessary. You could try and buy desk sets in person, Hans. I would be delighted if you were to show up. I have a whole tower full of desk sets, and despite my best efforts, only sold one since Friday. So there are some really excellent sets still available, and there will be a new one coming this week. I had one last set that I didn't get done. Will be coming up this next week. But anyway, December 15th through, which is a Monday, through Saturday, December 20th. The shop will be open. No appointment necessary. Basically, the rest of the year, it's I do ask for an appointment, but no appointment necessary. December 15th through the 20th, Monday through Friday will be noon to 5 p.m., which gives me time in the morning to pack my orders and get my stuff together. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We will very likely have stuff. Most certainly we'll have stuff that we do not have on the website. Everything that's on the website will be available, but I will have probably an extra 200 plus fountain pens, vintage pens that are not on the website. Mechanical pencils, actually, it may be closer to 300. 200 or 300 pens, pencils, ballpoints, you name it, plus some other stuff. If everything goes well, we'll have some low dollar, really super low dollar items, akin to what we used to have on our sale table. And I know there were quite a few people who took advantage of that. Stuff that I just know doesn't really pay for me to put on the website. Low dollar pens and things like that. But stuff that you can use for stuff a stocking with or whatever, what have you. They might find and there might be some one-off things that were, we used to have like notebooks that were, like a corner was bent or something like that, or something just minor damage, things that I can't sell on the website. So I don't know what that's going to be yet, but there's likely to be some of that. We'll be digging around the shop here to find all that kind of stuff. Yeah, low dollar doesn't mean low quality. Yeah, it's a bargain. It's just bargain stuff, but it doesn't pay for me to pay my daughter to photograph it and edit it, and then me have to put the listing up. It doesn't. And then Lisa's got to get the item into QuickBooks. I mean, it's too much work. But in this kind of situation, it really works well. So we'll have a bunch of that stuff. We'll have the vintage pens. Anything on the website that you see will be available. So Monday through Friday, December 15th through the 19th, I guess is the Friday, 15, 17, 18, noon to 5, and 10 to 2 on Saturday the 20th. Just that week, we'll be open. That also means that week there will be no stream, because obviously I can't have a stream and then have people walk in. So no appointment necessary. Just come. The address is 1901 Crooks Avenue, Suite B in Kaukauna, Wisconsin. When you get here, come in the front door. We're to the right. Just walk in. You don't have to knock. I tell everybody you don't have to knock because there's no window or anything. It's just a wooden door. I tell people don't knock, and everybody knocks. So just come on in. So I'll remind you all of that from time to time, and especially as I start pulling things aside for the event that may go towards the bargain table. I know I've got some like 2 pen leather pouches and things like that for sure that I've had forever that are used but not used up. And we all need that kind of stuff. In fact, one of them I might keep, but we'll see. We'll see. So anyway, there is that. What else? I think that's it for now for business, as it were. I did get. I should share your Potato Wars dish with us. Yes. Actually, believe it or not, I don't know what the kids are making because the kids are required to bring a dish. We are making 2. I will be doing mashed potatoes and scalloped potatoes. Cooking stream on Thursday? I don't think so. I'm going to be probably in rough shape on Thursday because I know I'm going to be getting up early and I'm going to try to squeeze in a 45-mile bike ride in before cooking, which may or may not be the wisest choice if I want to stay married. So I'm probably going to end up having to get up early on my day off to do that if I want to do it. So we'll see. But I'm looking forward to see what the kids come up with. At least his fiance is a decent cook, and he's always come up with some creative potato dish in the past. So that should be interesting. So anyway, I have today. Let's go to the bench. Before we get into the pens here, I got some client pens that just came in. We'll take a look at those. I did want to show off. I got 3 pens in on consignment today, and they're pretty outstanding. Well, one of them is really outstanding, and the other 2 are going to be. These are not on the website yet. They were just photographed today. They literally came in today. But just to give you an idea, if you're looking for a good deal, some of these are going to be a good deal. I haven't even looked at it yet. Lamy 2000, inked once. Fine nib, I think this one is. So I do need to double check, look them over, but they've already been photographed today. They came in today. They've been photographed. They very likely will be up on the website by midweek. Of course, this is going to be a really good price. If you've been looking for a Lamy 2000 with a fine nib, it looks perfect. This is the most used pen out of the 3. The other 2 pens have never been inked. They're brand new, all boxes, pretty much, all papers. This one is the Penlux Masterpiece Grande. I always liked this pen. We used to have this in a former life. This is the limited edition Snowflake. There were only 388 of these made. It's got this cool kind of frosted pattern on it. It's a piston filler and a steel fine nib. Kind of matte silver trim on it. So we got that one. And last but absolutely not least, and again, uninked, never inked, brand new, never used. I don't know how many more ways I can say brand new. Visconti. This is the Homo sapiens Earth Origins Fire Limited Edition. They only made 388 of these. Still in the wrap. Paper. There's the warranty card. This is number 43. You still have the Penlux Grande you bought from us? You can vouch they are fantastic pens. Yeah, they're really, they punch way above their weight. They really do. They're oversized. Look at this. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this was a Jonathan Brooks material. 18 karat fine nib. Stunning material here. Cool band on the cap. Red lettering. So just like it was new. So these will be up on the website shortly. If any of these are of interest, you can shoot me an email. hello@cardinalpens.com. We can talk about it if you want to get first in line. So those are cool. I just have a ton of consignment pens that have come in the last week or so. I've got more coming. I have more that I'm working on. There'll be more available on Friday. And I've got another 45-piece collection that came in last week, and I've got another 45-piece collection that is apparently shipping today. So it's time to get cooking on some of this stuff. All right, enough of the business, I guess. Let's see. We got a couple pens to test. What I might do is I might just hold off on these here. These are our Conklins and our two Schaefers. Those are kind of my pet projects that I'm working on. We've got two Conklins and this Schaefer combo that we just decided, I guess, we were going to resack. So we'll touch these at the end of the stream today. But I just wanted to show these. These just came in for repair today. This is kind of a mixed lot of stuff. Some cool. We got a snorkel. I haven't even looked at them. Snorkel. I always love this color. This is just a Schaefer cartridge pen, but it can be easily cleaned up. Reminds me of like buckskin or something like that. So this will be. Needs a little cleaning. We got, what is this? A Parquet. We got a Wherever. I think this one's got a 14 karat gold nib. A 21 in teal. So hopefully my bad luck with 21s doesn't continue. I'm trying to see if that's a scratch or a crack. We'll find out soon enough. This is kind of nice looking. Burroughs Welcome Pen. Well, that's different. You believe buckskin was the name of that color? Okay. This is an interesting, very interesting pen. It's marked Burroughs. The nib is marked Burroughs. Little ring top. And just for fun, just since there was a package coming, I got a couple pencils to look at to make sure that they work or they don't work. Or so in general, we got a lot of cleaning up to do here. So let me grab, actually, first things first. Well, at least we got the name of the color right, huh? That's the cheap buckskin. It's not the expensive buckskin. Let's put these guys in here. Actually, let's do this. We're going to start on these first. So we got the gamut here. We got a lever filler, two lever fillers. We've got a snorkel. I guess the Wherever is a lever too. So let's see what we got cooking here. Just want to check for any cracks. Don't see any. Oh, and I want to show this off because this is just adorable. So they were all sent individually wrapped with the little thank you sticker on it. Isn't that cute? Kind of made my day when I saw that. Especially after having had a couple of challenging customers and well, it's tight. Do I do any nib grinding or just pin repair? I do not do grinding. I know how to do it, but I don't do it. I will leave that for those who want to do that. Sticker residue on the barrel. Yeah, it looks like there's all sorts of residue going on these guys. Ooh, come on. Okay. This is a cutie. It should clean up nice. Just want to get them open first, and then we can triage the rest. Always need at least 3 slots for a snorkel. Shaver School cartridge pens are some of your favorites. They're almost bomb-proof. Yeah. Oh, you're sure I have plenty of horror stories. Yeah. Like the ones that didn't open. Today must be snorkel day. A friend just dropped 4 of them off here for repair. One is parts in a bag. Yeah. This has got the original O-ring in it. And thankfully it's gonna make my life easy because it's actually coming out in one piece. All right. Well, let's do this first here. Hang on. Let's take a look. How advanced in repair technique do you need to tackle a snorkel? Intermediate, beginner? I mean, it's not a terribly complex repair. I would say it's not a beginner repair. I mean, intermediate. Yeah, it's a great start, isn't it? I'm using one of these new Faber-Castell Poly fountain pens. They have this kind of a soft touch grip to it with a kind of a very soft triangulated section. Just ever so triangulated. You can see it more on the cap side. So the cap won't go on just anyway. It's got to go on. You know, it won't go on. Nice little pen. Solidly intermediate. Requires some special tools and knowledge. Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing is the tools, and not to skimp on the tools. You know, you need the where is it here? This guy. I mean, you really ought to get this. If you're going to do more than one snorkel in your life, you need this tool. It's just going to make life so much easier. Just going to leave it out since I'm going to need it in a little bit. All right, these are all completely different nib units, so we can just safely kind of dump them in the ultrasonic here. They often require troubleshooting, so knowing all the reasons one may not work after repair is very helpful. That is very true. Very true. I repaired a your PFM, I'm pretty sure he said in the stream that it was his least favorite pen to repair. Yeah, I mean, it's up there. Only because if it doesn't come apart, especially the PFM, there's just a high percentage chance that you're going to melt the PFM nib unit. What is this tool called? This is the snorkel pliers, is what this is called. This is a Dale Beebe tool. It's his snorkel pliers PTS7 is the tool. And then it has two sides and two channels with a depth gauge for the Triumph nib with the diagonal tip, or on this side, the open flat tip. Now, that being said, as we have seen many, many times on this stream, there are different depth settings even amongst those. So, I mean, it's a safe place to start, but it's not the end all be all. It's not an inexpensive tool, but it's not terribly expensive either. I want to say it's about a $65 tool, maybe an $80 tool. I can't remember. I mean, if you're going to do more than one snorkel in your life, buy it. And obviously it's only for the snorkel, so you can't use it on a touchdown. It doesn't apply. That's the big one. But in other words, you need one of these guys. You need just a long, thin, flathead screwdriver. You need a couple of small, thin screwdrivers. There is a special tool for assisting with putting the O-ring in, but you really don't. You can get by without it. For a long time, I actually used an old Schaefer ballpoint refill, because the back end was flat and it was the same diameter as the official tool. I also use this, which is actually not a tool for snorkels, but it's a tool for Schaefer vac fillers. It's the pen tooling D9, which is for Schaefer vac, aligning the rod in the Schaefer vac. But it is really excellent for knocking out the bushing out of the sack protector without. If you can get the bushing out without having to pull the snorkel tube, then if it was set to the right depth to begin with, you may not have to mess with that. And anytime you can avoid having to deal with the depth and adjustment of the snorkel tube, all the better. Not always the case, but all right. So we're gonna drop those in the ultrasonic. I like it when all the nibs are different, because then I don't have to think too much about it. The only problem with Movember is you're likely to shave December 1st when the mustache is looking the best. Yeah, isn't that the case? That is the case. But I've been told in no uncertain terms that My support of the movement is admirable. However, it will not continue into December. And I'm okay with that. I just want to raise a little awareness to help my fellow brothers out. Means I have to grow an Amish style beard. Am I being sponsored? I do have a donation page on the Movember site, but I haven't really been pushing it because I don't. I'm trying to get my awareness in anybody who's listening. You know, take care of yourself. Go see a doctor. Do what you got to do, you know. Drill bit for removing sack remnants is a must. Yeah, I'm still working on handles on those. Amish style, no mustache. If you go way back in time, back to COVID days, I did on a certain podcast. I did it with a beard for a while. Not really my favorite thing, but all right. That's a part. Did someone state what the consequences would be if you continue with the mustache? Maybe the couch until the mustache. I am certain it's the couch. I'm certain the couch is in play. I tell you what, though, I have a lot of respect for athletes and people who do a lot of physical activity who have a mustache, because I tell you what, if I'm getting some exercise and riding my bike, it's really not, it's not easy. I had considered shaving it maybe on Thanksgiving, but I kind of just see it through and yeah. And so what DRZ is talking about is a drill bit, and then this, if you get your sack stuck in there, you can get it out with the drill bit. I just started using that, but I really need to make a handle for it, and I haven't done it yet. Amazon has some nice costume mustaches for the mood strikes on a random day. One month a year is probably good enough, huh? I'm not familiar with Burrell's Welcome Pen. It's such a strange imprint, too. I've seen a lot of pens, but I've never seen this. That's the imprint on the barrel. And the nib says Burroughs on it. The turkey gravy could do the mustache in? Yeah, it might. All right, so we got a pretty loose clip here, but it's okay. You get 60 costume mustaches for $5. April Fool's Day, open a drawer with all of them laid out. I've acquired a new collection. Yeah. All right, well, that stuff is soaking. You know what? That cat needs a little help. Store exclusive pen with the mustache and dad joke imprint. Yeah. All right, let's take a look at this 21 while we're letting that stuff soak. Lisa would probably super glue it to the couch. Yeah. What makes the 21 so prone to cracking? Just inexpensive plastics when they made them. Yeah, it's not the same plastic. It's not the same material as on the 51. It's much thinner. And it's gotten fragile over the years. Is it similar to the 61 plastic? No, it's a little different. Dr. G's work on mixed color hard rubber. Do I need to remove any metal lever mechanism? No, you can dump it all in there. I was hesitant at first, but it actually cleans out any gunk that's in the lever area. You probably don't want it in too long. But a half hour is probably max fine. Check it after a half an hour. So this has got a clogged breather tube or something. You ordered some after seeing those amazing results. Yeah, they're ridiculous, aren't they? And the nice thing is 2 bottles like you got fit in a, the bottle fits in the U.S. Postal Priority Mailbox, which is nice. It doesn't, it doesn't require an oversized box. All right, so I'm just trying to test now if this is indeed crack free. Because if it is, we'll stop. If it's not, we'll continue this soak in the ultrasonic. The big problem is the easiest way to clean this would be to take this hood off. However, you take the hood off, we could crack it. All right, so I put a little bit of our non-ammonia pen flush in there, and I'm just going to let that soak in the ultrasonic. I think there's enough ink in these caps that I can make my own bottle. '21s and '61s almost seem from a different company in terms of quality. I mean, when they aren't cracked, they're okay pens. That's the real caveat. Let's grab some gaskets and O-ring. Yeah, 51's a totally different beast. This is the other tool that's handy to have for touchdowns and snorkels. But like I say, I mean, the purpose of this is so that when you put your O-ring in, if you accidentally push it down the barrel, you can push it back up. And there is another part that goes with this that was you're supposed to be able to just kind of push it together, and it seats the, hey Ziza, it seats the O-ring, but it doesn't, I don't like it. It's just easier for me to, what I did is I created my own tool and I ground a little groove in it. So the O-ring sits in the groove and then I push it in place. And it works pretty well. It's more trouble than it's worth. You used to, yeah. You use a wood pencil and tweezers to come at it from both ends. Yeah. I used to use one of the old, if you remember, like the old Strato Writer ballpoint refill. That's what I used to use. I thought that was kind of fitting. Now, even after I put that in there, I'm going to dump that in the ultrasonic. But I like this. That works. Oh, and I should mention, if I didn't mention this before, y'all have seen me use this Graf von Faber-Castell bottle for shellac. I've got some empties on the site. If y'all want to do this for your shellac, nice heavy base, basically just take your brush from your regular bottle and then just glue it in place in the inside of your cap, and then you've got yourself a nice shellac bottle. But I've got some of those available if y'all, since I did some samples up, I've got some empty bottles of the Graf. You can do it on anything, like I just started doing, I did a bunch of samples today. I think I did 16 bottles of samples. Edelstein would probably be a cool bottle to do it too. All right, let's see where we're at with these. Is there a specific company that you recommend to buy tools from? You've bought yours from Pendragon and Pen Tooling. Yeah, most of mine I get from Pen Tooling here in the States. I know there's a couple other UK based tool makers, but then I also buy a lot of tools and stuff. They're not pen specific tools. I just get them off of Amazon or whatever. Hard mode, put your shellac in an Ackerman bottle. Yeah, that would work great for a very short period of time, wouldn't it? Yeah, almost forgot that barrel. We'll let that 21 soak. That's going to need... 21's going to need... I mean, we turned this clear water kind of turquoisey. Hopefully it will... We'll clean out a little bit more. This snorkel really is kind of the star of the show here, I think. So I've had a bunch of substitute mail carriers lately. My normal carrier is great, but she's also a trainer. So whenever they need people to train, she's the one that does it, which means I get a sub. And last week I had a guy who was so early. He actually showed up on Saturday at 8:59 to pick up the mail. Like, I'm not here at 8:59. So that didn't happen. Thankfully, the different sub today didn't come till 11, so that was good. But I actually had 2 U.S. postal deliveries today. And a package I was expecting that said it was out for delivery didn't show up. In fact, I thought this was the package and it wasn't, so. All right, I think we got that residue off this barrel. When you get sub mail carriers, it could be 8 p.m. before they show up. Yeah, you just never know. I don't ever have the same one. I've had about 4 or 5 different ones. They're all nice. They're all good. It's just, you know. My normal carrier is, you know, you get used to them showing up at the same time. You know how much time you got left to do stuff, and she's on vacation this week. All right. All right, good suction on that. Good afternoon, Jason. How are you today? Spending vacation time in a relaxing place right here. Attaboy. This is the place to be. Yeah. That clip's a little weak, so I'm going to put it in the other slot. Mail just came 2 pilots, a Super 200 and a short. I love those shorts. Those are great little pens. All right, I got to put this off to the side so I remember to, I'm on the big TV today. Nice. And take that wherever nib out. 14 karat nib on a wherever. I mean, that's a, normally you'd say like, wherever it's not really worth doing, but that one's worth doing. This one I think I want to knock out. We'll just clean this guy up. It was a little too easy to come out. So we might as well clean it up. So these have the clear lucite feed. That's better. This looks like it's got some crusty stuff going on underneath. It blows through okay, but it's pretty easy to knock out. So that's what the underside looked like. You can kind of tell when you start to notice that there's like some stuff on the side, and that's when you're like, well, if it's going to come out, you might as well take it out and clean it because you never know what the feed's going to look like. And the feed actually is just fine. But this is such a cute little pen. I think it deserves a little better treatment. Nibble need a little adjustment. It's a little bit tweaked at the end, but it shouldn't be too bad. I'll do it when it's on the feed. Just the tip is a little bit splayed on the left side. Hello? Okay, great. Thank you. Have a good day. I have no idea what that was, but it was Amazon for the second time today. I've had 2 Amazon deliveries and 2 U.S. postal deliveries. Have I got UPS today? Can't remember. I had $1 every time I couldn't find a tool on my bench. I'd be wealthy. Really not what I'm looking for. Well, so someone had tried straightening this nib out in the past because the end of it has clearly been manipulated. And the tipping, thankfully, did it now, just disintegrated. So, unfortunately, that's a no go. which is too bad because that's kind of a pretty pin. And it's not a warranted nib either, so. Did anybody hear about this big museum robbery in Switzerland? That happened, I guess it was last week. Like over 2 dozen, I think they're Roman gold coins were stolen, amongst other things. Apparently, the thieves, there were 2 thieves. They actually bought tickets and went in about 4:45 before the museum closed at 6. Overtook a guard. There was a singular guard there, and then smashed the displays, grabbed the coins and a couple other things, and took off. And there was a stunning. There's a whole list, of course, of all the pieces that were stolen, and they're just stunning examples of ancient coins. Of course, they're worth way more than melt value, but yeah, it is horrible. Um, Although, I mean, if you're going to steal gold, why? I don't know. I'm hopeful that the thieves actually were stealing it for somebody. I mean, but they were like exceptional pieces. Really, just beautiful, just beautiful coins. This makes you, it's just sick to your stomach when you see crap like that. I mean, you know, first the Louvre and then this. So that we're going to leave alone. I'm sure the museum is going to have to reevaluate their security protocol. Having one one security guard on staff is probably, it's clearly not enough, but you know, what do you do? You certainly can't afford these days. Any museum can't afford to insure every piece in their collection. And if we want to avoid having virtual only museums, you know, there's going to be this kind of risk. You have no idea why this popped. You have it. You have the best potato recipe for your next potato war. Send it along. Could be a recipe for the weekend. All right, let's I do want to work on these Conklins a little bit today too, so just going to clean up this buckskin. We'll get some sacks on them, and then I can, because I've got another Conklin I want to work on too. The State of Maine Museum is having a top to bottom makeover. Offices, public space, storage, and all part of the asbestos Removal and complete utilities upgrade. Take your mashed potatoes, mix them with a half cup of pecorino romano cheese, fresh basil, eggs, parsley, salt, and pepper. Okay. There still is time to modify my potato entry. Form them into quarter cup balls. Dredge them in flour, eggs, and breadcrumbs and pan fry until golden brown. Smother in marinara, more fresh basil, and mozzarella. Ooh. That does sound interesting. You have a serious question. How many pens do I need to bring for Thanksgiving? I know the answer. There is an answer to this question. I have the correct answer. I'm most certain of it. The proper number. Well, there could be two answers actually. Um, I would say I've been a big fan for many years. I have one at home of the Franklin Christoph 13 penvelope. It's similar to the Penfolio that I sell from Girologio, which is a 12 pen, but this one is a little bit bigger and it holds 13. And then plus you can actually tuck some smaller things in the crevices. If you need a thin mechanical pencil or heaven forbid a ballpoint or a Retro 51 or something like that. So that's a good option. 13 or well, probably no more than 48. I mean, because a 48 pen case always looks smart, I think. But you probably could get away with a 24, and then that would be sufficient. We're going to continue working on that tomorrow. Let's at least. Well, you know what? I'm going to do this cap here for a minute. You have a Menache 48 pen case. That'll work. I mean, 48 pens with the story will be more than enough. So this wherever cap is pretty. In fact, it's the trim on the cap band was so dark that I didn't think the cap band was actually there, but it's there. We're going to try to make this a nice writing instrument. Probably just half full, hoping you find some pens along the way. Are you going to do a little hunting? You might not find 24 though. You should just bring like a spare 24 and just keep it in the trunk. That's what I do when I go to shows. I just take like a couple of 48s, extra 48s, and I throw them in the trunk just in case. On top of everything else that I bring. When we go antiquing, we'll take like a 48 or two 48s or a 48 and a 40. Um, and the goal is to run out of room. Or you take your least favorite case and you just leave it in the car. Never take it out. You're always ready to go. All right, now we're getting somewhere. Of course, that just ensures that you won't find anything because if you're prepared. All right. This wherever needs a lot more polishing, but we'll get to that later. So I got a couple of pens I can finish today, and I really would like to do that. So let's see. This guy, I'm just gonna do that. 14, probably two 16s. Perfect. Lisa's actually got a Monday off coming up. I think it's 2 weeks from today. So we're thinking about doing a little antiquing trip. Yeah, see that way, if you take a little extra in the car, then you can fill up the 48. You got, the last 48 that you got in the last month or whatever, which I realize is a huge first world problem, right? The last 48 that you got in the month. All right. Move this guy out of the tray here. You saw a set of Esterbrook nib cufflinks on the bay the other day. It might still be there. Here's a fun story for you. I'll look for them, but do they have like the little gold outline around the nib unit? If they do, those nibs probably came from me. Because I used to sell nib units to the company that makes those. It was a pretty lucrative back in the early days. It was how we started to fill the shelves. In fact, we were paid handsomely for it, to the point where on some of the cheaper 1000 series nibs, we got more than we did if we were to sell them outright. Like as much as 50 to 75% more than what we would normally get for them. I'm not sure they expected the quantity of nibs that we gave them, supplied them with. They got a lot. But um, they would take nibs that were, missing tipping, because they would grind them blunt anyway. So for a while, we came up with this crazy idea. We did a nib trade-in program. You could trade in your old. Now they had to be straight. They could be missing tipping. They could, but they couldn't be all bent and knackered. But you could trade in your bad nibs, and you would get credit toward new nibs. Which ensured we always had stock so that this company could make cufflinks. I forget what the deal was. I mean, back in the day, though, you got to remember nibs were number one. People sold nibs, and number two, I mean, there wasn't anything that was over. I mean, the good nibs maybe were $15-20. Have you given more thought to the pen you're wearing to your daughter's wedding? I saw the other day that this company making button pen cufflinks. No, I haven't. I've got one in mind. But it's like it's 2027, so I got a lot of time to think on that one. You know, it is quite possible. Monographic cast. I know someone who has one. He might let me borrow it. That would be a bad omen, wouldn't it? It is quite possible. I could acquire a pen or two before then, so we can't rule those guys out. Boy, there's a lot of stuck ink in here. In fact, the sac is not expanding, so something's lodged up in the breather tube. But I'm seeing really, really dark. I mean, it's slowly expanding, really slowly. I'm seeing really dark ink coming out. So we're gonna let that soak overnight, and we're gonna have to just keep It looks like the hood is good, so we are not going to touch the hood. Not going to touch the hood. All right. We'll look at those pencils tomorrow. I want to kind of move forward on a couple of these other guys. It's a good start on those. Hey. All right. So if you're real astute, you will notice that there are 4 pens in this tray. You just drove yourself crazy looking for a pen that was sitting right on your desk. Yeah, I've been looking for a pliers for the last, I don't know how long. I suspect it's probably sitting right here on my bench somewhere. I really need to clean this off. Sounds like a good Thanksgiving Day project. If you're real astute, you notice one of these pens was not here last week. And that pen, we are going to do a little experiment with. I can find myself a container here. Work, I think. It's the worst with glasses too. You put them on your head to get them out of the way, and you forget that they're. Yeah. You panic before doing that because you're basically blind without them. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I don't know how many vent holes Conklin thought they really needed in a cap, but apparently 4 was the number. It's a flexible stub, oversized balance, so it was a scary 10 minutes thinking you lost it. Mm. So I really need this inner cap to come out. All right, now I bet some of you are wondering what the heck I'm doing here. What is Anderson doing? Well, what I want to do is I want to get this inner cap out and it won't budge. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put some Dr. G's in the inside of the cap. But I don't want it coming out. I need to get it up to and above the level of where the inner cap is, which actually is below the level of the toothpicks. But I don't want it to come out of the hole and leak all over the cap, because the cap doesn't really need to be deoxidized. So I put a little piece of tissue in there and a little bit of tape. And the toothpicks will keep it nice and straight. And we're just going to let it soak. This is a 4NL, so it's a number 4 size, non-leakable, meaning a screw cap with, what is that, a 1/2 inch band? So that makes it a 4NL2. So that's going to sit. I should have got that started earlier. But a lot of things cooking on Mondays. I think we left off pretty well on this. I sprayed a little bit with the Clean and Shine. This moves nice and freely now. Probably could use a little bit of buff yet, but it's all right. Clean that nib out. Reassemble the feed. There was a crack at the base of the nib, but we're just going to be real gentle. Is there a product you'd recommend to clean celluloid, or is just soap and water okay? My grandfather left you an old shaver that's pretty grimy, and it's the first celluloid pen you have. I really like the Microgloss 5. It really does a great job of cleaning off dirt and residue and if you were only going to get one microgloss, get the 5. The 1 is a nice companion after you've cleaned off your grime. You'll notice I don't ever use 1. I very rarely use 1 here. For a couple reasons. One, I guess I'm lazy. And 2, I don't like vintage pens to be over polished. But you can get a real nice shine with 1. But 5 really will just do good work on the dirt, which is why I like to use it a lot, because you can find vintage pens in the wild. They got heaven knows how many decades of grime on them, and including nibs too. And you really can't see. It's. I mean, yes, 5 is more aggressive than 1, but saying it's aggressive is like. I mean, it's 5 microns. Yeah, it's the best. It's why you included Microgloss 5 in Kits for Beginners. Yeah. It gives you the most noticeable difference with the least amount of work. If I have some people say, "Wow, I'm only going to use 1 because it's less aggressive." Well, it's going to take you forever. And there was a point earlier in the year where I was out of 5, and I was waiting for 5 to come in, and I had 1, and I was like, okay, I'll just use 1. But 1 is a little bit more viscous. It's runny, and it's just not. It doesn't really do the job as well. But for a shaver, yeah, absolutely. Microgloss 5. If you've got a really super, super clean surface that you're working with, then absolutely follow it up with 1. Little elbow grease. Rub it in. You rub it in until you can't see it anymore, and then buff it with the soft cloth. Not sure what the heck I did with my buff stick. It's here somewhere. This will work. Oh, it fell on the ground. That's why. Love the smell of hard rubber in the morning. Yeah, that's a pretty serious stress crack on there. It's just going to have to do, though. Hey. So I had a funny moment happen on Friday. I got a call from the shop that my car was ready to be picked up after having been in the shop for close to a month. Because it went in the shop just before the week before the Ohio show. So yeah, I guess it had been in there, yeah, more than a month. And oh no, yeah, last week, yeah, so 3 weeks, whatever, 3 4 weeks, and I had electrical problems with it, and a bunch of other error messages pop up, and they finally got it in the queue and looked at it, and they called me back and they said, "Yeah, we got your car fixed. You can come pick it up. We found the problem. Your positive battery cable was loose. The bolt was bad. We replaced the bolt. It was $3.49. And the $185 diagnostic fee, and you're good to go." Just kind of laughed. Said, "Thank you." Picked it up, drove it straight to the storage unit, parked it. A $3.49 bolt. There, the diagnostic fee was such a simple fix. Yeah, I mean, it could have been. It could have been much worse. I was literally expecting the worst. Um, and I absolutely, I would never have, I would never have thought to look there based on the error codes it was throwing up. So your wife tried to, you took your car for an oil change and they tried to upsell her on a new car. Yeah, that's a little much. No, I was real pleased with their honesty. Um, what was interesting to me, and I'm not 100% certain, but I'm pretty certain, is that they kept my car inside the shop the entire time. Because the guy apologized. He said, "Hey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the dust. Oil change and alignment." They said just buy a new one. That was 160,000 miles ago. Oh my god. So they kept it because it had rained since I dropped it off. Because they actually had to. They said, "Well, where are you parked?" I said, "I'm parked out front." They said, "Oh, we'll bring it around for you. We got to move a couple cars first to get it out." I thought, you know what? That's all right. Although I did have to laugh when the guy brought it around. He said, "Man, manual transmission. You don't see those anywhere." I'm thinking, what? They said nothing else wrong with it, so good to go. Buy a new one. That's absurd. For an oil change and alignment? These Schaefer caps are just kind of nasty. They saw some rust. Oh my god. You need to get your car serviced in Wisconsin because rust on a car in Wisconsin is like, they just put it on there from the factory. It's an option. Yeah, it means it's getting broken in. Yeah. Your brother was a mechanic for high end Ferraris and McLarens, and it wasn't uncommon for them to hold the cars for months at a time in their shop. The owners never cared, though. Yeah, rustic color in the Midwest, right? I mean, Yeah, I was really shocked they didn't. I mean, I guess they figured they got me for $185. I was anticipating much worse. But I don't have to worry about fiberglass on that guy, so, or on rust on that guy. All fiberglass. Pet owners among the most loyal and frequent repeat customers, so I'm sure they wanted you to be happy. Yeah. They're also sometimes the biggest pain in the you know what customers too. And I really didn't want to be that customer. And I mean, I care, but I'm not like, I mean, I've heard stories of guys, where they, like the guy touches the car and without a cloth or something, he opens the car the wrong way. And then the guy gets all honked off. He's got to go buff the door panel because he touched the door panel. I mean, they just up the level of service to stop complaints before they start. I try to be real humble. I'm not any different than I am with anything else. I mean, I've got a little bit of information, and this is what I'm getting on these are the error codes that I'm getting. Here's what happened. I'm not there to tell them what, how to do their job. Which is probably different than some vet owners anyway. It's a lot of schmutz on this cap. I know what would fix this would be to dip it into Dr. G's, and then we could get some of this stuff off. But there's a tight hairline crack in there, and I suspect what somebody did is they used super glue and they just, or some kind of adhesive, and they just goobered it on. But yeah, you're either the type of guy that's going to do your own work, or you're going to take it to the dealer. And I'm the type of guy that's just going to take it to the dealer. And I don't like to do that, but I don't, there's not a dedicated Corvette shop in town anymore. There used to be years ago. Although I didn't trust them anymore because they once told me that a 68, what did they say? Um, they had a 68 convertible in the shop that I was considering buying. And it had clearly been in an accident. And didn't have the it didn't have the rear marker lights or the backup lights below the valence. If there's like a 68 only 1 year only thing about the backup lights, I can't remember what it is. I think in 69 they went inset into the yeah, 68 they were on the low on the valance. In 69 they went inside the actual brake lights. And the guy, I said, well, what's the deal with why are there no backup lights? I said 68 had them under on the rear valance. He goes, well, not all of them did. What? I mean, are you including this one? Is that what we're talking about here? Because that's just stupid. Yeah, they pieced it. It had been in an accident, clearly. Once he said that, the light bulb went on, and I was like, well, this is not the car for me. It had the wrong motor. I mean, it was a, in hindsight, it was just a walking disaster. Um, we'll look at that cap later. How are we doing? We put these two together, didn't we? Yeah. Let's get some sacks on these guys. Probably a shoddy frame repair too. Yeah, I got pictures of it. I mean, it was. Let's just say it was in my price range, and that's probably why. A 68 convertible. But I had just gotten into an accident actually on my bike, and the insurance company settled because they knew that the driver was I think it was a 16-year-old girl, just got her driver's license, and she plowed right into me. But lucky I was not seriously injured, and they were happy to settle. Let me tell you. And I had enough to buy the car, but it would have been a really bad move because I had nowhere to put it, and I was in the middle of a divorce, so that wouldn't have looked good. So yeah, I just said, yeah, we're good. I'll think about it. That was a pretty blue car, blue interior, 4 speed. What do we think? 15, maybe. At least it wasn't duct tape. Yeah. It reminded me a lot of my Corvair because the Corvair had all sorts of stuff wrong with it. One of your friends in high school left the DMV parking lot after getting their license only to T-bone another car. Well, hey, at least they had their license, right? It was a parked car. Oh, shit. Number 2 self filler should be a 16. Boy, it's 15's tight. I mean, that's a 16. I mean, it'll fit. I don't really think it matters much. Um, Maybe because the manual says so. Yeah. Well, this 20p is definitely a 16. But I mean that's how tight the 15 is. Well, you know how much use these are going to get, so yeah, it is as tight as anyone would want. Yeah. Let's do. I suppose we got to put this back together, huh? I guess I cleaned this, but I didn't really clean it. They're going to take up a slot in the pen case until they get home. It's kind of how that's going to work. I thought I had cleaned this, but I guess I didn't. There we go. Sorry, hang on. I gotta text to troubleshoot here. I may have to. Okay. Well, I think I've got to run over and play tech support, so I have no idea how long that's going to take. It's almost 5, so I'm going to have to end this early. We'll finish up with these tomorrow. Because they're having issues, so oops. I have to go help. So tomorrow we'll finish up, or at least continue on with this. We'll continue on with these 2 Schaefers, finish those up, stack them up. We'll take a look and see if we can get this inner cap out of this 4NL. And have a great night, Hans. Thank you. And we'll also circle back on those other pens and look at those pencils and keep going from there. So gotta run. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great evening, great morning, great afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Be kind, be well, and we'll see you tomorrow. All right? Take care.